All right, folks, welcome back to the second and final match of today's doubleheader here on GG Speedruns as our 8th annual Super Smash TV tournament continues. Alongside Tabatio J and Ferran Burgundy, I'm LOZ Cards Fan 23, and our second match of today is our number 4 seed Tetsuoooo taking on our number 13 seed SpaceColonizer. In their last matches, Tetsuoooo swept our number 14 seed Scotty 3-0, and in SpaceColonizer's match, took on the number 8 seed Hefeman 82 and went all 5 games before taking that 5th game to advance into the money rounds. And I must say, SpaceColonizer, the pioneer of that manipulation in that first room to get that opening orb. We've seen him put it to use here, and he's been the most successful of all of our runners so far.
Yeah, it's almost for SpaceCo going to be probably a little bit more generally more felt that going to be getting that manipulation than not going to be getting it. Just absolutely phenomenal run after a tough first round matchup against yours truly. Has gone on an absolute tear through the lower bracket every single round, beating the likes of Dildar, Lucha Jim, Firebroth, and the just aforementioned Hefe Man right there. Just an incredible run through that lower bracket at SpaceCo. So this should be a phenomenal matchup. SpaceCo playing every bit and much better than, I would say, actually much better than that 13th seed, maybe first implicated Tetsuoooo, of course, been a very strong opponent to face off against here, and both these racers going forward, keeping their tournament alive if they take this set, going home if they lose it.
Yeah, SpaceColonizer, I think, is more capable of a better PB than the current one that he has on GG Speedruns, which is currently a 545. We have a PB of 520 for Tetsuoooo, which was set last year, just missing that sub 520 club. He is still in 6th place on the leaderboard, as Hefe Man was the 5th who joined us in that sub 520 club earlier this year. Three Creepio mentioning that SpaceCo has a 541 in the backlog, which I guess has not been verified yet. If that does get verified, that would put him in, I would imagine, 22nd place, depending on what the 100th digit is, because it's going to take a lot to take 21st place with Deller's 541.033. So you would think, in all likelihood, that would put him in 22nd place, ahead of Easyation, who has a 542.133. So here we go with game number 1 between SpaceColonizer and Tetsuoooo. And as I mentioned, it is SpaceCo who is doing the manipulation in attempt to get that first drop orb in collect power-ups. So you're going to see a lot of Tetsuoooo hole shots because of it, because it is going to take you generally about 41 seconds. Tetsuoooo with a mid 39, and there's that low 41 for SpaceCo. Let's see if it ends up being worth it for SpaceColonizer if he can get that first drop orb here in collect power-up. So here's Tetsuoo's first drop. It is a spreader. SpaceCo, does he get the orb? He sure does. Wow. Manipulation successful. And gets a Razor Shield to follow up. Does he complete the Holy Trinity with rockets? Not quite. He'll get a spreader. Ah, there's the rocket. So a little late, but he completes the Holy Trinity of drops. He gets the orb, he gets the Razor Shield, he gets the rockets, and he's in good shape right now. Just like that, manipulation paying off already. He's got an 80-second time and the lead. It's a 3.5-second deficit for Tetsuoooo, and he is still without the orb. Now, the key for SpaceCo is keeping that orb nice and healthy here and Eat My Shrapnel. 18 Mr. Shrapnels we have to take care of, and no more than 4 can be on the screen at any given point. Ideally, you'd like to have a 42.5-second time coming out of this room.
Yeah, just coasting through is SpaceCo with those drops. Getting the rockets as well, so gonna have some more rockets to go. Rockets on Tetsuoo's side gonna be doing just fine, but that orb now, as we go out of Eat My Shrapnel into Total Carnage, that's where the difference here could be potentially made.
Yep, 2:02, and yeah, Tetsuo lost some time. He's now down by 5 seconds, and he still does not have an orb, starting total carnage here, but gets an orb on the middle of the room, just what the doctor ordered to keep him afloat. Now let's see how these runners play total carnage with nothing but a pea shooter, because so far they haven't gotten anything. A key for Tetsuo, nothing
Game giving
doing.
equal opportunity direct here.
Right, but oh, SpaceCo got a little bit too impatient there, trying to grab that razor shield and gives up his orb. That's going to be very costly if he doesn't see a replacement.
Yeah, now it's flipped, and the time can start. You know, any kind of lead is going to evaporate, and it'll be a decent lead for Tetsuo, given that. Ooh, gets rockets, so has to really work over to get those. But yeah, Tetsuo holding center with the orb, not getting many drops himself, but making it happen.
Yeah, it won't matter if he's not getting any drops. But look at this. SpaceCo somehow still has the lead with the 3:04 versus the 3:06, so it's a 2-second lead now. As SpaceCo has a full clip of spreader, Tetsuo has no drop, so that's interesting. I'm surprised SpaceCo is able to keep the lead. I mean, the quality of drops definitely helped him out because Tetsuo had nothing but a pea shooter to work with, but I'm still surprised SpaceCo is able to keep that lead going now into tank trouble. Let's see what the open and drop is for SpaceCo. It's a dude, he can ignore it, and then he gets picked off by the bullets. A dude for Tetsuo as well. So now this is where we're, oh, but Tetsuo loses the orb. A mistake there from Tetsuo. I'm very surprised, but so far some game one jitters from both of our runners, boys.
Yeah, that room closed up real quick, as tank trouble will do for you sometimes when you're not getting the drop, especially. That first drop is pretty pivotal, I would say, for a lot of runners. If you get a bad drop in a bad spot, you're paying attention to that, and yeah, all of a sudden this room will get away with you. Vulnerability for both right now, but yeah, not a whole lot. Pea shooters and invulnerabilities for her too.
Yeah, but with
You're right the first time.
Ooh, Tetsuo got a replacement and lost it just as quickly.
Oh
my word. This room falling apart for both runners here. There's no telling who's going to have the lead coming out of this room because they are both playing, unfortunately, not the best. A late orb for SpaceCo in a real bad location. Can he get to it? I don't think so, Tim.
No, this is, you had it right, Taps. This is pity pivotal, the way that the drops have been going for both.
And it's going to be close. They both have to get rid of, yeah, it is going to be SpaceCo still with the lead somehow with a 451 versus a 453. So it was the same 2-second lead for SpaceCo coming out, and neither player is going to be happy with these times. SpaceCo not going to go for the... He is going to go for it. Yep, he's going to go for the early room, get the spreader into him, because that's where he doesn't get the vibrations off. And because of that, SpaceCo already has the first arm popped off, but he needs another weapon. Rockets will help with the gunners. There's a SpaceCo lead right now. Tetsuo looking to get these lobbers. He does. SpaceCo needs another drop. Where is it? It must have been parked, whatever the heck it was. Lobbers now for SpaceCo. Still has the lead right now, but is still close. Second arm coming off now on SpaceCo's side, and Tetsuo gets a lobber waiting for him at the door to at least keep himself afloat. It could come down to one spreader as Tetsuo gets the second arm popped off. So still a SpaceCo lead, not by much though, maybe 3/4 of a form. But look at this, Tetsuo is right there.
Yeah, actually got like the entirety of that grenade salvo to land right there. Not typical. And Rockets getting that consistent damage. Death by SpaceCo gonna put a little time back. Lobbers will help, but Rockets are gonna get Tetsuo. I think.
Oh,
right
Tetsuo
there.
taking the Talio here. He wants to spread. He gets the spreader.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
No way. Final form coming up for Tetsuo here, and just like that, he takes the lead, but then gets run over. Oh, and SpaceCo sees it too late. Oh no, he could have won with that, but instead Tetsuo is going to take the victory. Oh man, tough break there for SpaceCo, but Tetsuo getting that timely spreader for a come from behind victory there. Just absolutely rough there for SpaceCo, but Tetsuo wins with a 645. SpaceCo gonna have a 650 something, but neither player is gonna be very happy with this time.
Now that was like a football game with terrible field conditions. Just someone's just trying to find a little footing, dig in, and be able to pull away right there. Tetsuo able to do so enough with yeah, some good damage just from everything, leading up to just the most miraculous kind of well-timed Telio death into Spreader. Just beautiful.
Yep, that was a chef's kiss Talio death if I ever saw one on Tetsuo's side. And SpaceCo, that spreader came barely too late, because if the spreader would have come just a little sooner and he takes the death, gets the transfer damage, he probably wins that one. Just game of inches. You know, it's just like any other sport. Smash TV, game of inches right there, and Tetsuo barely hangs on for game number 1, but I think both of these runners not going to be happy with this time. You know, you're talking about football with bad conditions. It reminds me of that Bills-Patriots game a couple years ago where Mac Jones had a total of 3 passes.
And you're just wondering why the Bills are passing the ball so much. It
Exactly.
is not a good idea.
But in any event, we'll see if these runners can rebound here in game number 2. We'll get them both set up.
Yeah, this should be a thrilling one right here. I'm expecting a, blows back from both ways. Let's see if SpaceCo can even this up in game 2. Let me get them counted in.
I mean, these are both runners capable of throwing down sub-6s in tournament play here, but their arena gameplay, I mean, Tank Trouble just absolutely had their way with both of them, but SpaceColonizer losing that orb early, midway through Total Carnage, that's kind of what started the downfall, but Tetsuo just was not able to capitalize on that, as he could not keep the momentum going in Tank Trouble. Neither player had a good Tank Trouble. SpaceCo had that small lead going in the Mutoid Man fight, but Tetsuo getting that timely spreader, because he was trailing for the entirety of that fight, but that timely spreader after taking the Telio death, that was the key right there to giving him game number 1. Let's see what happens in game number 2.
SpaceCo nailed that manipulation in the first game. Let's see if it happens again in the second as we start up game number 2 here.
Yep, as you can see, SpaceCo is in the proper location where he's going to attempt to do that manipulation so he can force that opening orb drop and collect power. So because of that, you are going to see Tetsuo probably take the whole shot in every single game in this match. It is going to be another substantial one at that. Tetsuo is a low 39, and there's your typical low 41 from SpaceCo. But again, it's a sacrifice you're willing to make if you know how to do that orb manipulation here. Let's see if SpaceCo gets that opening orb here in game number 2, just like he did in game number 1. He does.
Yeah, but you can see we got a little reaction in the crowd amongst the stream, kind of knowing that manip was landed right there. Well done by SpaceCo. Going to be able to hold that center just fine with the orb. Spreader on Tetsuo's side, going to keep up a little bit, but yeah, going to be searching through these items, get some shoes. That's not going to do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, once again, the shrapnel going off on SpaceCo's side. Still going to have the lead with a 121. Tetsuo now going to be 4 seconds back, but just like in game number 1, does not have the orb to start Eat My Shrapnel, so he's going to be scrambling. Boy, he's really going to be scrambling. Had to dodge a lot of green shirts there, and the swirl as well. Does get a razor shield, which will help him a little bit, but he needs that orb, and he gets it.
Wow, right there in the center, too. Didn't have to go very far for it. Able to get that with the razor shield. Just nice and protected right there. Nice grab by Tetsuo. And yeah, some fancy footwork to start Eat My Shrapnel there. Well done. Both runners now set up with the prime drops. Ooh, even more prime for Tetsuo with the rockets.
And Tetsuo could cut into this lead a little bit. It's a 203, high 203. Tetsuo with midway 207. So yeah, he cut about a half a second. Again, the rockets at the end of the room. And oh, SpaceCo almost lost that orb to the purple shirt there. He is really struggling here starting Total Carnage.
Staying alive, keeping the orb healthy somehow, getting that rocket drop, and yeah, back to the center. A terrible rocket drop, unfortunately, for Tetsuo. Could have actually ignored that, just not wanting to risk the orb. Probably a great call right there. Having to dodge some shrapnel is SpaceCo right there. So yeah, a little sketchy on SpaceCo's side, but making it happen, making it work.
And he's doing fine now after that real rough start to the room there, but it looks like he's got, oh boy, that shrapnels just came at the wrong time, and the orb was able to protect him from one of them, otherwise he would have been hit. So late razor shield now for Tetsuoooo should be able to help him clear out the rest of the room, no problem at all. We'll see who's gonna have the lead coming out. Tetsuoooo can use that, yeah, timely nuke there, and SpaceCo loses the orb late in this room.
One more shrapnel. They were giving him some tricky angles, and one finally caught SpaceCo. That's gonna hurt going
Big
into the
time.
poster.
This is the problem. Even though SpaceCo's getting that orb manipulation, his problem in this match so far has been keeping it healthy in Total Carnage. That's twice now he's given up the orb there in Total Carnage. That's a problem, especially with a runner of Tetsuo's caliber who could throw down a 5-2X at any time. So that is not what you want to be doing when you're behind the 8-ball. We'll see what happens here in Tank Trouble. Nuke to start. Purple Shirt's getting a little close on Tetsuo's side, but he's keeping it going as both gunners are now down.
Yeah, I was really focused on getting some good shots there, and able to take down the gunners in pretty reasonable time. Able to stay somewhat toward that center. Invulnerability and nuke on SpaceCos, but yeah, gonna be struggling now, not getting the drops. Rockets will help.
Yeah, if you can chain rockets without an orb drop, that actually can be better. It just does not happen very often. He'll pick up the spreader, and Tetsuoooo took a death. I didn't see what got him there, but he gets a replacement orb. Go figure.
Wow, to the victor go the spoil sort of thing. I guess came out of that death and decided, you know what? No, I'm gonna keep my.
422 is the time. SpaceCo, meanwhile, gets an orb of his own. We'll see what the damage is, but he is going to be double digits back into the Mutoid Man fight. He's going to need some help here. Definitely still in the running. That shrapnel is going to go off, so he's going to be almost 20 seconds back for 441. It's a 19-second lead. It looked like Tetsuoooo got the ball buster. Spreader, going to have to be manual. He's going to go from the right side and hope that it draws it to him, but gets picked off by the gunners. Didn't really get any shots on that, unfortunately. But SpaceCo loses his orb. What got that orb? Was that the swirl? Was that a gunner?
I think the swirl might have swallowed that up. That or just the natural movement, but there is that spreader.
Another primo location spreader for Tetsuoooo, and things looking really good. And he's going to give up the spreader as his invulnerability is about to run out and go for that more consistent damage. But right now, things looking real promising for Tetsuoooo as he's up by 2 full forms already. He needs a spreader to SpaceCo, and he needs it real soon. Are you kidding me?
No, we're just gonna give that to Tetsuoooo.
Just give the game the match already. Give Tetsuoooo the match already.
Oh my God, another one. He doesn't take the death. He knows that he's already getting.
No, this is over. This is all over with, and then he gets an invulnerability. I think we know who the game wants to win this match. Okay, we get it. You want Tetsuoooo to win. We get it, game. Well, wait just a second. Invulnerability. He needs another. No, this is it. This should do it for Tetsuoooo. The game is doing a little bit of a tease job right there, but there you go. Tetsuoooo is going to win game number 2. My God, 2 timely spreaders. He's had all the spreaders. SpaceCo finally gets a spreader, but it's too late.
Yeah, finally gets one toward the center. Had a little bit of a park job there by Mutoid Man, but yeah, and we'll get a little of transition.
He did get transition damage. Yeah. You better believe he did, but just too little too late, unfortunately, for SpaceCo. So he was 19 seconds down coming out of that room, and he ends up 18.5 seconds. So he actually had a slightly faster Mutoid Man fight than Tetsuoooo did, but that just wasn't nearly enough to come from behind. SpaceCo is going to have to clean up his arena gameplay because that Mutoid Man fight, if he had the lead, would have been enough to win. But unfortunately, gonna have to clean up that arena gameplay if he wants to be more competitive against Tetsuoooo.
Yeah, I mean, the orb drops, I mean, definitely in game 1 especially, it's not like Tets didn't have some trouble in that room anyways. Had a little bit of trouble in this game too, but yeah, just overall got the replacement orb pretty quickly was Tetsuoooo after the death there. And yeah, just some great spreader drops, obviously, like 3 spreader drops in a row, it felt like, for Tetsuoooo right there.
Yeah, he has had 3 great spreader drops, and you know, if Mutoid Man had more HP, he would have had a 4th, because he had another good spreader and another good primo location, and then he got an invulnerability to go with it. So, I mean, if this was, you know, double damage enemies. Like, I know this isn't the kind of game that would have that, but if they had double HP, like, you know, in the Ghosts and Goblins game that Aquas does, Super Ghouls and Demons, Ghosts and Demons, that game, you know, where the second loop they've got double the HP. That spreader, it would have 4 spreaders there, but not to be. Tetsuoooo, though, just has been getting the drops. But the thing is, none of these players have played clean arenas yet. We need to see that change here, especially on Space Coast side. Let's see what happens in game number 3.
If we're certain of one thing, or more certain of one thing, it's that SpaceCo will get that early orb advantage. It hasn't really been going Tetsuo's way. It's I haven't seen I don't know an orb in collect power-ups yet for him.
No.
So.
He's not had an orb and collect power-ups yet. And, you know, SpaceCo can't be banking on that every game. Eventually, Tetsuoooo is going to have an orb and collect power-ups, and it could be this game.
Yeah, it looks pretty good on this side. Again, and like you said, now actually probably the worst time coming out of that first room for Tetsuoooo. But always going to have that whole shot, because I think I kind of expect 40s, sub 40s for Tetsuoooo pretty much every time out.
Let's take a look. SpaceCo, that's 3 for 3 now on the orb drops there, so very good for SpaceCo. Ooh. His manipulation has been on point. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He's gotten a little bit reckless with that orb today, and that has to change here as Tetsuoooo gets some rockets, which again will help him keep afloat. But again, the key here, still no open an orb drop for Tetsuoooo in collect power-ups, and it looks like it might just stay that way here. That might be the final drop. No, that's going to be the final drop for sure.
Yeah, doing the rockets, doing well with it, and getting those spawns out of the south right there. So we'll still get out about 125, about 123-ish or so for SpaceCo, and get the rockets to the first drop, so that'll help immensely.
Very good indeed. Yeah, about 1.5 seconds is the lead, and there's an orb for Tetsuoooo. So at least he's gotten his orbs in Eat My Shrapnel. So that's going to allow him to stay in this one. So the pressure's going to be on SpaceCo to keep that orb healthy, which he has failed to do in Total Carnage twice now. He needs to make the proper adjustment here. He's got rockets to close the room, so it's not going to be a problem at all for SpaceCo. Tetsuoooo is going to be scrambling just a little bit because he's going to have a pea shooter to finish off the room instead. Last one, it's a 2:04.5 versus a 2:07. Gained a second, and yeah, just having those rockets at the end for SpaceCo was what enabled him to gain that little extra time on Tetsuoooo at the end right there. 2.5 second lead, that's not much. Let's see what happens in Total Carnage. Let's see if SpaceCo can make the proper adjustment.
Yeah, just kind of getting the spawns really spread out right now, and it's getting SpaceCo out aside of the center again happening. It happens from time to time when you just don't secure one lane. This is the room where it will start to really get away with you, even as much as Tank Trouble. But here we go, both with the Razors. Gonna be sitting comfy now.
Yeah, this is definitely what SpaceCo needed to, you know, give himself a little bit of a breather, give himself a little bit of a confidence booster going into Tank Trouble here. So as long as a piece of Razor Shield or a piece of shrapnel doesn't go through this Razor Shield, he should be fine coming out of this room. But these rockets here, look at this. Tetsuoooo saving it to the end. He's got a full clip going into Tank Trouble. SpaceCo has a little bit of spreader going to take with him into Tank Trouble. They are practically dead even. It's a slight lead for Tetsuoooo as he gained about 3 seconds in that room. I'd say it's time. I'd say it's time for you know what it's time for? It's time for Taco Bell. Oh, Taco Bell, Taco Bell. Product placement with Taco Bell.
Get yourself some Cinnabon Delights as a nice little dessert for yourself.
There you go. Nukes for both, but again, the rockets to start the room for Tetsuoooo is going to give him the major advantage. Rockets for SpaceCo, it's a long ways away. He should be able to get it. That was dicey. The gunner was ready to pick him off, but just couldn't quite get to him. Razor Shield, though, for SpaceCo, that's going to help.
Little close call right there. A little purple shirt getting right in Tetsuo's face right there. Still staying alive, though. And keeping that orb. Razor Shield, obviously, for SpaceCo, going to be doing just fine. Spreader will help out Tetsuoooo, but that was a close call. Could have lost that orb pretty early.
Tetsuoooo is going to grow that lead. He did have better quality weapons. He had a couple of, he had a rocket, then he had another rocket, which helped buoyed him in this room, and he's got a lead, though. But SpaceCo, you know, is definitely in the running. He's down by 10 seconds. They both have a chance at the ball buster, but SpaceCo is going to need Mutoid Man to go his way here in game number 3 to avoid being down 3-0. No ball buster, though, for Tetsuoooo. Let's see if SpaceCo can get it. Also starts with rockets. Focus on the gunners first. Only gets one, though. Let's see if he can get the ball. Oh, he's flaxed. Yeah, so no ball buster, unfortunately, for SpaceCo, so a lost opportunity there. But look at this. Another spreader for Tetsuoooo, but finally a spreader for SpaceCo.
Equal opportunity drops. You love to see it right there. Great positioning for Mutoid Man for Tetsuoooo, so a little bit better on that regard. But yeah, even chest pop for Tetsuoooo, so just a little bit further ahead, but 2 forms down to SpaceCo.
Yep, he needed that. There's grenades now, but lobbers for Tetsuoooo. It's a tough grab, good grab there for Tetsuoooo. Key can ignore. Where is the next drop? It's grenade. SpaceCo is just able to get to it. The head pops off. It's rockets, an empty drop for SpaceCo. He needs another spreader, and he needs it right now. He gets it!
He does get it, takes the mine death, very nice, kind of clears that out, and a little move over by Mutoid Man working out.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, he shook up, though, kind of got away from him.
And final form now for Tetsuoooo, so he still has the lead, but if SpaceCo can get another spreader here, he gets one. Will he get it in time, or will he be blocked? He's got to go around. Go. He's got it, and it goes toward him.
Oh, and he's inside. He got huge damage right there. This has a chance.
But he got run over. He got run over, and this might be enough for Tetsuoooo to take this game. He's going to grab this one. It's an empty drop for SpaceCo, and that's going to do it.
My goodness, that was down to it.
Oh, what a tough loss there. If he doesn't get run over there, he might have pulled that one off, but instead, it is going to be Tetsuoooo, 3 for 3, and just like what we saw in the first match, it's Tetsuoooo on quadruple match point, a 7 3/4 second defeat.
Yeah, well done by SpaceCo, hanging in there, really finally getting some spreader drops and did pretty well. Had just that unfortunate, that first one just kind of shook upwards and didn't really allow for as much much of that damage as you would hope with the invulnerability. But well played, another close one between these two. But again, we got a 3-0 situation. SpaceCo has got to take 4 in a row, one at a time, as our friend Bryce Hull says, but it's going to be a tall order.
Very tall order indeed. I mean, SpaceCo, better arena gameplay that time. I mean, to be fair, did get good drops, and that's something you obviously can't rely on every single game. But nonetheless, SpaceCo had better arena gameplay and put himself in position to have a shot at winning. He was down by 10 seconds, but could only gain 2 1/4 of those seconds back. Just a brutal loss there for SpaceCo after getting run over. I don't know if the spreaders would have been enough to finish the job. It would have been very, very close if he didn't get run over. But then after he got empty drops, that was all she wrote. So Tap's going to get our runners ready here for game number 4, quadruple match point for Tetsuoooo. SpaceCo, one at a time, is going to have to find a way to dig deep and come from behind to take on Tetsuoooo. Again, only once in the history of Super Smash TV tournament play has a contestant come back 3-0 down to win a best-of-7 match. That was, of course, 40 Watt over Firebroth those years ago. Here we go, game number 4.
Nuke in the center right there for Tetsuoooo going to be a little bit annoying. And then grenades on the feet, kind of ruining this whole shot potential for Tetsuoooo. Probably, does get a decent
Still
nuke
gonna
right
get
there.
it.
Yeah.
Still gonna get it just because he had that nuke. If that nuke wasn't there, it would have been a SpaceCo whole shot for sure. 40-41, and we'll see if that ends up being 4 for 4. J-Pop for Life believes that's a 4 for 4 for SpaceCo on the manipulations. We'll see if he was absolutely right about that. No, did not get the manipulation. The first miss for SpaceCo, and that hurts.
Yeah, when it's down to you really need these ones chance to potentially kind of get an early lead here on Tetsuo. Doesn't get it. Does get some rockets, so the better drop still.
So our resident gurus who know more about this manipulation than anybody, J-Pop and 3Creepio, now confirmed had the manipulation in tow, but started firing too early at the end of the room. And because of that, Tetsuo is going to have the lead, despite the fact that for the 4th straight game, no orb going into Eat My Shrapnel, but this time no orb for SpaceCo, so he's really going to be fighting for his life here. He needs to hope he gets an orb and Tetsuo doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Does get the rockets early in the room there, so that really helps as far as the early clear, getting the shrapnel numbers down. Spreader on Tetsuo's side will be just fine, and pretty much at that point to where even Pea Shooter will be just fine. But there's the orb for Tetsuo, gets the first orb drop.
Man, things looking real bad now for SpaceCo. The one time he does not get the manipulation, the game penalizes him to the fullest and doesn't give it an orb here in Eat My Shrapnel, and he's still 2 seconds back. But that time is going to be hemorrhaging here in Total Carnage if he doesn't see an orb soon. And look at this, the rich getting richer. Tetsuo getting a razor shield to start the room. Rockets or SpaceCo will keep him afloat, but only for so long. He needs to see that orb ASAP.
Yeah, sure does. We'll be able to keep it afloat a little bit with rockets right here, but yeah, that won't. Ooh, and there it is. There's the orb. He's able to get a safe grab.
What the doctor ordered. My goodness gracious, this is going to keep SpaceCo in the running with that orb. I still think Tetsuo is going to gain more time on him, but he's able to stop the bleeding, and that was important for SpaceCo. Now he has to keep this orb the rest of the way here in Total Carnage.
There you go. Yeah, it is doing pretty well at the fire lanes. Some of these Total Carnages have gotten really squirrely. Oh, and there we go. Right,
he's done it again. 3 out of 4 games he's lost the orb, and this one could be fatal taps.
That one, oh, I mean, Spreader 2 bars in there, but yeah, that is going to hurt. These first drops in Total, into Tank Trouble here are going to be vital. You need it to go your way, and you need Tetsuo probably to get, a dude or something to that nature.
Yep, so 12 seconds back and is orbless once again. Vulnerability for Tetsuo can at least ignore the bullets. He gets 1 gunner off and gets grenades. So right now, the drops, nothing to write home about for Tetsuo. SpaceCo, let's see what he gets. And vulnerability, that's something when you don't have an orb, but that's not what he's looking for. You would have loved to have seen a rocket. It's a dude. Tetsuo doing a lot of dancing here, but he's doing a fine job. He's still got that 1 gunner up there that's wreaking havoc, but he's doing a decent job. But unfortunately, he's kind of getting pinned to a corner, so his kill count is going to be kind of low here. But then he gets a little bit too close in the purple shirt, and then with a lot of rockets, gets clubbed down. So an opportunity lost there for Tetsuo.
That is big right there, because even though they're orb lost, you're like, oh, well, he still has rockets. He's going to be able to clear that room. Does get a refill right there, but that death's got to hurt Tetsuo a little bit. Gets the invulnerability. We'll be fine for the end of this room. Rockets on SpaceCo's side. We'll be able to kind of keep up, I feel, right here. It shouldn't be too bad of an exit for SpaceCo either.
Now, 4:29 was the time for Tetsuo there, but yeah, that time is a tick to tick to tick, but Rockets or SpaceCo are at least going to keep him afloat going in. Neither player is going to have a ball buster. It's almost a 15-second lead at a Spreader. Tetsuo has a long way to go for it, but he's still going to be able to get it.
Yeah, that first drop Spreader, wow.
Yeah, the only problem is he's going to have these gunners to deal with. He does get vibrated, does get the first arm popped off. Here comes the lobbers for SpaceCo. The nice consistent damage here. There's a grenade for Tetsuo. So right now the lead still belongs to Tetsuo as he's trying to get that second arm popped off, but that is not enough to get the job done. Still 1 gunner attached on Tetsuo's side as the second arm now pops off. SpaceCo still doesn't have an arm and his mother hen on those grenades, so there's nothing SpaceCo can do about it. He is still on the first form of Mewtwo Man as the ribcage is exposed for Tetsuo. This is disgusting.
Where's the drop, game?
This is unbelievable. The game is just handing it to Tetsuo right here. I mean, who's already on the penultimate form is Tetsuo, and he hasn't even gotten, a great spreader. He had the 1 spreader to start. He has lobbers. There's a spreader for SpaceCo, but he's going to need another one. He's going to need another one. Final form already for
Invulnerability, come
Tetsuoooo.
on. Let's see the invulnerability. No, lobbers, it's great damage, but you want... Well, he will transition to that. Let's see this next drop.
A nice glitch
Final
to it at the
form, though.
very least, but final form, and with these lobbers, if Tetsuoooo nails all these shots, it's over with, and it is over with. Tetsuoooo, another clean sweep this afternoon, and Tetsuoooo, well, not only did he get the luck with Mutoy, man, he also played the arena a little bit better than SpaceCo, despite the fact that in 4 games, he never saw an orb in collect power-ups. SpaceCo finally missed on the manipulation. It didn't cost him, but what cost him was total carnage. His total carnage gameplay was what sabotaged him today, and that is the reason why he's going home.
Yeah, just a little bit of a letdown. You know, those orb drops, you're always going to be kind of kicking yourself for that, especially in Total Carnage. Tank Trouble, it's almost inevitable that you might lose that orb at some point, but the Total Carnage ones, you got to be kicking yourself a little bit if you're SpaceCo on those. Incredible showing throughout the tournament, though. Well run, still landed in the money round, so well played by SpaceCo. But on move Tetsuoooo, who will be facing the loser of that Aquas Brysolf matchup. So that's going to be phenomenal.
That is going to be a dynamite match. It's a rematch of, I believe, last year or so where those two took each other on. I believe it was Brysolf who won 4 games to 2. But right now, you know, Aquas has been in the zone this entire tournament up to this point. Now, let me tell you when that match is going to be. Brysolf and Aquas, that is coming your way this Friday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on GG Speedruns. It's a winner's semifinals. Whoever wins that is going to take on Telio in the winner's finals to try to punch their ticket into the Grand Championship. We're down to our final 6 contestants, gentlemen, getting down to the nitty-gritty, and it is going to get very exciting.